Dear learners, today in the fourth session of 7th week, I am going to discuss democratization of Industry 4.0, applicability of Industry 4.0 in all other industry sectors. So far we have discussed Industry 4.0 applications, building block, maturity model in context of smart manufacturing. But equally, Industry 4.0 concept is applicable to all other industries. In this session, I have selected two domains. One is the healthcare and other is the banking and insurance, banking, finance and insurance. How Industry 4.0 technologies are transforming these sectors, become the growth engine, catalyst, helping these industries to diversify and to offer highly advanced way of offering services. So let us begin with our reflecting back to the first session of Industry 4.0, which I have discussed some 7 weeks back. We studied this picture. The first industrial revolution, what has caused that, pre-first industrial revolution was the horsepower. In the first industrial revolution, we have seen the growth of engine power, how the mechanical energy got converted into the revolution was a steam engine introduced mechanical energy, how the mechanical energy started boosting the industry, factories. Then in second industrial revolution, we have seen how electricity has enabled with the electric motors and machinery, and industry start advancing, production cycles start improving, exponentially improving. And then before start of the fourth industrial revolution in which we are living now, I also briefly discuss about the third industrial revolution of information technology, internet technologies. We all are aware that how information technology has made our corporates more and more efficient, government more and more efficient, world become a global world. There were no boundaries of information. You can access information across the globe thanks to the internet revolution. If you remember this slide, which we also discussed in the first session, this slide shows that how digital technologies, whether it is artificial intelligence, Internet of Things, IoT, computer vision, augmented reality, virtual reality, robots are transforming the industry. And this course is to understand how these technologies are changing the industry, how these technologies are helping society to become more efficient, comfortable. Our life is becoming, more and more comfortable. So in the context of fourth industrial revolution, what are the key drivers which are shaping the new healthcare, I will call it? These are the technology drivers, we call it. Artificial intelligence, Internet of Things, connectivity. Cloud computing is a very important development which provides the backbone for all applications. And advanced analytics, advanced data analytics. Without that, this sort of development which we are seeing today not be possible. So many other technologies are there which we already discussed, except few. Now this slide shows that the capability of Industry 4.0 in the medical field. One side, the Industry 4.0 technologies are helping patient health monitoring. Industry 4.0 technologies are being used for precise surgery, medical imaging. Then wearable health devices, with the help of which doctors can provide remote services. This is a part of telemedicine remote consultation. You are doctor in the field, and there is operating a patient, and doctor wants to, for a particular problem, doctor wants to see that or seek advice from the system. What should be the next course of action? Wearable devices help in that respect. AI-driven diagnostics. IBM Watson engine is one of the best example. Many hospitals are making use of IBM Watson software. We call it sometime IBM Watson engine, which provide the diagnostics based on the pathological report, prognosis of the patient, clinical facts, and MRIs and all those. When that data is available to the system based on the algorithms and the huge historical data, Watson software is able to provide a good diagnostics, good recommendations to the doctors. Then doctors may take the action as per the best course of treatment. Electronic health record is a massive area where the health data was not stored on the electronic devices. Now once we store the health data on the electronic devices, then it can be used for diagnostic purposes. It can be used for machine learning algorithms to learn from this data and to provide that insight about this data. So that is also one of the area where a lot of developments are happening, already happen. This is one big area, electronic health record, where Government of India has also set up a countrywide network to capitalize, to make the health record across all hospitals, government hospitals, as a centralized repository, and the access will be given on a very secured manner, so that nobody can access the data of a patient, which is a confidential data, without the permission of the patient, or without anybody who is outside the hospital cannot take this data outside. We have discussed that aspect of data protection law. So we will discuss in this session some more aspect of how the technologies are transforming this sector. These again few more use cases of Industry 4.0. Enhance patient care, remote consultation. Now you need not to visit. Suppose you are in the remote area and you are not and you want to consult the best doctor in the country. Now you can connect with the doctor remotely through your phone on a virtual mode. So that is thanks to the Industry 4.0, now fast networks like 5.5G, etc. Improved diagnostic we already discussed, efficient monitoring, data-driven insight. This is very important, data-driven insight. Now, as we know, the data is one of the key factors for success of AI and machine learning and deep learning algorithms. As much data we are having about the health, we can diagnose little more precisely. And that is one of the mission Government of India has started few years back, that we should try to capture the data of patients, what kind of treatment was given to them, what kind of the problem was there then, what was the cure given to them, and what was the prognosis, what is the advantage patients got. That all the data is being captured and is being centralized. And once that is being done, then many hospitals which are connected with this network will be able to explore, will be able to take their advantage of the past data store, and insights can be developed with the help of data analytics. Advanced treatments, one of the best example is the robotic surgery. The robotic surgery, here the robots work as a co-surgeon with the surgeon who is doing the surgery. It helps the surgeon to pinpoint and to see the problem through a macroscopic kind of equipment. It will help the surgeon to pinpoint and to reach to the right point where the surgery is required. So robotic is also one of the important development in the healthcare services. Streamline operation, I have already discussed about the electronic health records. These are the technologies which are commonly being used in health sector as being used in other sectors like manufacturing. So there is no difference over here, only the usage is different. The technology is same or similar. So this we have already discussed about that. You can make a note of that. Like artificial intelligence, which is very, very important technology, automate of clinical workflow and task. This help to automation. With the help of now agentic AI also, new developments are expected in this field. 5G connectivity, which is 1,000 times faster than the 4G, is also helping to connect and to provide the speedy connectivity. So this is also very important area, very important technology which is helping healthcare sector. Cloud computing, we already discussed about that. This is the base of all technologies. Where data is being stored, all algorithms are running. So cloud computing is one of the biggest technology which is helping the healthcare. I have shown here little in a more holistic manner how these technologies are helping the healthcare, which I am calling over here as a medical 4.0. So you can glance through this picture and try to appreciate that the new kind of development. Enhancing healthcare with digital innovations. This is another way of representing the previous slide, that how these different technologies are helping. Basically, here the focus is on artificial intelligence, how artificial intelligence is helping the health sector. AI-powered diagnostics improve accuracy and speed, which I already explained in case of Watson software. Chatbot assistant with patients' inquiries and guidance. We have seen many portals. Chatbot is a very important development. You need not to wait for the operators to come, and it will chatbot help you to connect with the right person, to book the appointments, etc. Smart algorithm manage hospital workflow. That is, most of the hospitals are using now IT systems. But the latest development is that AI is being used in these IT systems. And for that we have to develop algorithms. So if the hospitals wants to know the suppose there is a overflow, there is many more load of the patient in one kind of clinic, the workflow, this workflow will help to hospital to schedule the next 1 week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks kind of and predict what is going to be the load on this clinic, so that they can arrange more doctors and more facilities, consulting facilities or clinical facilities for this to take care of the subsequent load. So this is one example I thought I will give you. This is very important development. Deep learning, advanced neural networks analyze complex medical data. This is one area where I will, those who are interested in AI, they should try to learn the deep learning. So deep learning algorithms are also equally being used in case of the healthcare areas. Internet of Things, for connectivity, these two technologies are being used commonly, Internet of Things and 5G. Now, in case you want to implement that, in the healthcare sector, the technologies for the healthcare sector, what are the steps which we should follow? So, in this 2 slides, I am trying to explain some 9 or 10 steps which anybody like to follow, so that they can understand first, and then they can develop system, they can apply this technology, artificial intelligence technology or IoT technologies. So, they should be aware of that, what is all is involved in developing a healthcare solution. And so, comprehensive patient data collection. The first step is the comprehensive patient data collection. Then integration of big data with health record. We have the health record, as we say, EHR, and then we have to analyze this data. For that we need big data analytics. Big data analytics. Then all this data has to be secured or can be stored on a cloud-based data storage. That is the third step. So, we have to have a space, we should subscribe some cloud services. There are many companies, cloud companies, who are offering, cloud services for health. For that, they have a specialized, algorithms, specialized applications, the cloud-based applications. Then smart system for data processing. We have to develop the smart systems, on data processing, detection, early warning mechanism. We have to develop, if you like to develop the full hog systems, then you have to develop that is your choice, whether you like to develop detection and early warning mechanism. So that if the patient data is available with you, with the hospital, hospital can also give some warning, after a period of time that suppose somebody is suffering with a cancer. And after some time, when that patient is visiting regularly, and the hospital realize that the system realize that now it is a critical stage of the growth of cancer, the system will give that the detailed analysis, and that can be a good guidance to the doctors to take subsequent action. Advanced analytics. And on the right hand side, I have shown this flow in form of a picture. Process of the patient data is the first step, smart system development is the second step, and smart care unit, that is the patient facing system, this is the third step. And this approach, or this concept, is available in more details in this paper. Medical 4.0 technologies for healthcare and features, capability and application, which was published in Science Direct Research magazine. So, these are the further steps, for mostly belongs to the third layer, that is the smart care units and medical 4.0. So, you can go through these steps. My idea was to give you a glimpse about that complexities and possibilities in the health sector, development of the healthcare sector, applications. I have also included few slides, few use cases. You can go through at your own. These are well tested live use cases which has been published by NESCOM in one of the study in 2024. So, you please go through these use cases. These are 2 slides which are. So, now I have come to the end of that, how the healthcare is transforming with the generative AI. As we studied that, generative AI is a new version of AI. Which generate that recommendations, which generate that in case doctor wants to have a prescription for certain diseases or certain symptoms, or clinical data which the doctor is having, and they want to seek the advice from the generative AI, it is possible. So, generative AI is being also used now, started being used in the healthcare sector more rapidly. These again, some few use cases, and these are all published use cases. I have taken from the NESCOM study, which was published under the headline of Advancing Healthcare in India. And this is one of the live example of the Royal Philips, how the Royal Philips is, using the past data and, their algorithms, for the providing the remote, treatments. In fact, Royal Philips is offering a platform, it's called Health Suite platform. It's called Health Suite platform. Any polyclinic which do not have that advanced feature of ICU, they can avail that ICU features by connecting with this platform. So this is another area of study. I thought I'll just give a glimpse of this, that if any student wants to know what is the what kind of facilities the Royal Philips is providing. They are also they have some hospitals in India also start using that their facilities. So they have a consolidated platform which provide that all sort of connectivity with their high-end machines, so that you can, suppose you have a you like to connect with their ICU facilities, so you cannot and patient cannot move to their site, the hospital site. So with the help of health suite of Royal Philips, the ICU facilities can be provided into a remote area of one of the polyclinic. This is a glimpse of this platform. So now I am coming to the another sector, BFSI, banking, finance sector, banking, finance and insurance sector. I will say that in last, in fact, post COVID-19, the health sector and finance sectors are the two major sectors which has taken the full advantage of Industry 4.0 technologies, and we are seeing a very different kind of a high growth of these domains, fintech domain as well as healthcare domain with the help of digital technologies. So you can see what kind of use cases are being has been developed. AI driven credit scoring, digital banking and neobank. We are aware of the many digital banking initiatives by our Indian banks. One of the initiatives which I like to share here is the RBL Bank. RBL Bank, you will find that 90% banking is on the net. You need not to visit their branches. They don't have the presence. RBL is not having physical presence in most of the areas, but you can provide, you can get all sort of banking facilities or banking services from RBL online. Robo-advisors, this is also a very important AI-based system they call robo-advisors. You like to know the advice on your portfolios. You have some plan that how after my retirement, how I should generate my income and this kind of capital I am having. So robo-advisors come, some of the recommendations, and periodical recommendations. So this is also one of the important development in the fintech industry. So embedded finance, supply chain, trade finance platform, these are all little high-end concept. But I thought, for sake of completeness, I should share this, concept also over here. Blockchain is, one of the latest technologies which is securing and especially it is being used in case of frauds detections, and there is a concept called smart contract which is being applied, by most of the banks, so that all the contracts, whenever somebody take a loan or somebody take an overdraft, it is not only just stored in the databases, but it is stored in the blocks. And this is a new technology which is taking place, which is getting used in many ways in the banking sector. So this is another slide where I am showing how in banking and insurance sector digital technologies are being one of the important area is the omni-channel experience. Earlier we have to visit a bank only when we will get the services. Now services are available on the IVR, services are available on your desktop and laptop through net banking, services available through chatbots. So omni-channel experience has become very common factor in most of the banks now. So intelligence source, smart credit and lending. There are many banks where you can get a credit up to a limit. Say you like to have a credit of 2 lakhs rupees. Earlier we have to go and fill the form in the banks. Now you can upload data, the information or credentials which they want. Bank wants like your PAN number or your last 3-year income tax returns copies, and based on that, bank will decide to give you how much loan can be granted to this person. So like that, there are multiple applications has been developed, is being made available with the help of a new industry. We call it fintech industry is getting developed in our country, and it is being said, India is far ahead of other countries in field of fintech. This is another slide which I am showing some more applications bankings are using. So you can go through. There may be some common so kindly excuse me for that. In this slide again I am showing that how digital technologies are being used. All digital technologies, most of the technologies which are being used is shown over here in this slide. The advanced analytics, cloud computing, robotic process. One important technology which I keep pressing is the robotic process automation. So it helps to automate our manual processes. It helps to automate our manual processes. So that is one area where most of the banks already are using this technology, and insurance sector is also using this technology. So you can make a note of that. Another important factor is the digital platform. If you see that how the RBL Bank or DBS Bank Singapore is working, they are purely on the digital platform. Digital platforms is a technology which provide all functionalities the way you see the functionalities in a store or in a bank, physical bank. And instead of going to physical bank, you can log into digital platform and you will get all facilities. There is another slide of giving some of the examples. On the right hand side, you can see how these capabilities are being used. Banks like DBS how this cloud computing and API facilities are being used or being used by UPI and by NPCI for rolling out the UPIs. So one advice from my side that after looking into all these examples, in case you are interested, you can try to study how these use cases are being used, has been developed or is being used by these companies or these banks. I have included few slides where I am discussing that how some areas like cashless world, emerging payment rails. So this is again to show you the gamut of application which are being offered with the help of Industry 4.0 technologies. Like mobile payment, we are aware of that. Integrated billing, we are aware of that. P2P transfer, person to person transfer. Now it is very common with the help of Paytm or GPay or PhonePe. So this is all being possible with the help of digital technologies. Some of the slides you can go through your own. And I invite you to go through these slides, and at the end I want to show you the big picture of the banking, which you can see in single slide, which is happening. In the core you find all the banking applications which need to be developed using technologies. These are already customer facing banking services which are already being offered, and most of them we have discussed in the previous slides. So these are the technology providers, service providers who are providing these technologies and these services to the citizens and their customers. So this is one thing I thought let me try to put all piece of these developments, technology developments, how the banking sector or insurance sector is using into a single slide. So friends, we have come to the end of this session, and I will wish you that I wish that you further explore this area. And it will be very rewarding area. Those students who wants to seek the career in digital technology or Industry 4.0 to study these two sectors, healthcare and banking and finance sector, banking, finance and insurance sector. This is one case study which I have included in my deck. So some of the slides, as I have mentioned earlier, are the reference slides. In case you have time, you can go through these slides. Thank you very much.